Good afternoon, and welcome to the first fall webinar on Transformational Learning in Montana Advanced Opportunities grant information, designed for districts interested in applying for both or either of these grants. My name is Crystal Smith, Program Manager for both Montana Advanced Opportunities and Transformational Learning. The objectives for today's presentation are to understand more about both of these grants, learn how to apply, provide ideas and resources, and to answer any questions that you may have. For today's format, I want to present both Transformational Learning and Montana Advanced Opportunities information simultaneously so you can compare these different grants. Let's get started with Transformational Learning. During the 2019 legislature, a commitment to funding innovation and transformation practices resulted in $2.6 million of grant funding for the biennium. Innovation and transformation can be described as a pupil-centered flexible learning system that develops the full educational potential of each student. This grant has been awarded for 3 years now. For some of the ways districts have transformed learning for students include development of digital curriculums to allow for self-pacing, proficiency-based learning, student-centered and directed learning based on interests, innovation and enrichment design, and independent learning electives. But the legislative's real intent on this grant is to completely redesign learning. Mastery-based learning and flexible pacing are keys for this to happen, meeting each student right where they are. In order to qualify for this grant, your school board must pass a definition of proficiency that does not require or measure seat time in order for students to be deemed proficient. Montana Advanced Opportunities is permanent funding and was passed through legislation to support various styles and experiences for learning, with the intent to financially support these experiences, reducing the financial burden on parents. An advanced opportunity is defined as any course, exam, experiential, online, or other learning opportunity that is incorporated in a district's advanced opportunity plan and that is designed to advance each qualifying pupil's opportunity for post-secondary career or educational success. Of this grant, funds being awarded, 60% must go to reduce the out-of-pocket costs for families to support their child's post-secondary successes, and the other 40% can be used to personalize and enhance current CTE programs within your district. Both of these provide expanded flexibility for districts to support each pupil's post-secondary success that aligns with their individual interests, passions, strengths, needs, and culture. Here's a brief overview of both grants compared side by side. As you can see, the Montana Advanced Opportunities Grant has an opening window for application the first Monday in December of 2021. And it closes the second Monday in December of 2022. That would be December 6th, open through January 10th. The window opens at 8 a.m. and closes at 5 p.m. And the funding is awarded on a first come, first served basis. If you look at transformational learning, the window is anticipated to open January 3rd and close January 10th. And this is due to the new language in statute that says that a lottery system will be used to determine new applicants as of January 1st of 2022. The requirements for application for transformational learning is that a district must identify the FTE, or the full-time equivalent, that will be used to directly implement their transformational learning plan. So for example, if you have a school district of 40 instructors, but only 3 of those classes would be using transformational learning skills according to your district strategic plan, then only those teachers that are going to be implementing those strategies is what you would include for your FTE. Again, the district must include their definition of proficiency, which does not include seat time, and then the district strategic learning plan as it relates to transformational learning also must be included. For Montana Advanced Opportunities, the district needs to develop an advanced opportunities plan, and then that plan would be communicated within the district strategic plan. Qualifying grades for transformational learning are grades K through 12, whereas advanced opportunities is grades 6 through 12. The funding calculation for transformational learning is 50% of the quality educator payment multiplied by the district's FTE submitted. And again, those are the FTE that are directly associated with implementing the transformational learning plan. You can see on the right side of your screen for Montana Advanced Opportunities, the breakdown for an elementary district, a high school district, and K-12 district. And all of those percentages are based on the prior year's quality educator payment. For transformational learning, the length of funding is 4 consecutive years, with all funding ending in fiscal year 2027. While as for Montana Advanced Opportunities, it's designed to be permanent funding as allocated by legislature each biennium. And that permanent funding is contingent upon the district submitting their annual report on time each year, demonstrating their goals and their work in progress towards reaching those goals and outcomes. If you were to apply in the fiscal year 23 cycle, you can anticipate being funded in fiscal year 25 for transformational learning. And for Montana Advanced Opportunities, there's actually $350,000 that was not spent in this last cycle. So knowing that Montana Advanced Opportunities is first come, first serve, if you're one of the first districts that were to apply in that window when in December when it opens, you could anticipate being funded in the next fiscal year, so fiscal year 23. Both grants allow for permissive levying to help support funding in these areas. And the requalification requirement for both of these grants is to submit an annual report in the next window cycle. So you may be wondering or asking yourself, why apply for either of these grants? As you look on the left-hand side of the screen and you see transformational learning, you see that it's designed to support proficiency-based education, honoring students' individual needs, passions, strengths, culture. I want you to think of students in your school district who this might directly apply to, either students who are accelerating beyond the pace of the classroom, or you might have students that need additional support in order to successfully master content and not be moved along at the teachers or the curriculum's pace. So that proficiency-based model is ideal when it comes to transformational learning. Transformational learning is rooted in relationships with teachers, family, peers, and community members. People say, it takes a village to raise a child, but I believe it also takes a village to teach students these days and for them to get the quality education that so many of them need and desire and want. So being able to build those relationships with folks outside of the school walls to transform learning for students and giving them those unique perspectives and opportunities. We know, especially due to COVID, that learning can happen in several different ways, not just with a teacher and students in a classroom all learning at the same pace. So transformational learning is designed to support community-based learning, experiential and online learning, and workplace learning. We know students learn in all these areas and many, many more. So finding funding to uniquely support students learning where they best learn instead of maybe the more traditional style of learning. And then providing effective professional development. So as school districts and our nation and the world constantly changes and needs to adapt to what's coming next, transformational learning dollars can be used to provide some professional development for teachers within your school. For Montana Advanced Opportunities, we talked about it being used to reduce the burden for parent out-of-pocket costs. So of the funding that your district would receive, 60% would go to cover out-of-pocket costs for parents, and then the other 40% would be to maximize, enhance, to personalize current and new CTE courses within districts. Some ideas for how to use that 60% of funding to reduce parent out-of-pocket costs. You have dual credit tuition and enrollment, exam fees such as ACTs and SATs, work-based learning opportunities, ways to credential and license and certify students in areas that they can't be certified in a traditional classroom with teachers. And then the cost for pupil participation in advanced opportunities settings. We think of the Build Montana Out of Billings as one example of this. We look at some John Deere partnerships with different businesses and schools around the state that would allow for students to have these unique learning opportunities outside of the school walls. And all of that funding would be appropriate to be used to help support those students. A couple of other examples are a pilot's license. And one district actually used a student needed to be able to get to work, but couldn't afford a driver's license. So a driver's ed course was something that was used to help support that child's post-secondary educational success. One caveat in applying is a strategic plan. The strategic plan is the pathway and the guidance for what districts anticipate both before they're funded, during their funding, and then eventually after their funding when it pertains to transformational learning. A district strategic plan as it relates to both transformational learning and Montana advanced opportunities describes the planning horizons and benchmarks for implementation. What are districts currently doing and what are they looking to do in the future in order to support both of these different concepts within education? As we briefly talked about, the annual report is due upon receiving grant funding each year, and it communicates the district's measurable objectives and what they're doing to meet them or to improve them. So making sure that those measurable objectives are outlined within the strategic plan. And then finally, that the district's plan is designated for all students. Key concepts of both of these grants are personalization, individualization, students' unique interests, needs, and not just a one plan fits most, but a plan that fits every student within your school district. But it sometimes seems very challenging to be able to accomplish. So these funds are both provided to support the unique needs of all students within your school district walls. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the application process. Both applications for the fiscal year 23 cycle, which is the next cycle that opens either December for transformational learning December for Montana advanced opportunities or January for transformational learning. The applications can be found on the OPI website that are hyperlinked here. Both applications require the school chair board signature that happens at an official meeting. Again, you'll see these windows for transformational learning, January 3rd, 2022 for transformational learning, Montana advanced opportunities, December 6th, 2021. Notice here that the transformational learning that was originally House Bill 351 in a first come first serve model, this next open cycle has been changed to a lottery system and now titled House Bill 89. So once the window closes on January 10th, a lottery system will be used by a third party outside of the Office of Public Instruction to conduct the lottery of all districts that have applied. And then they will be organized on the current wait list based on that lottery system pick. Well, as Montana Advanced Opportunities is still first come serve. I'd really like to reiterate that for Montana Advanced Opportunities, funding is accessible right now as there's no current wait list, and that funding is permanent funding. So it's not a four-year cycle such as transformational learning is. And then both of your applications would be submitted on the OPI website, transformational learning under the hyperlink tab here, and the Montana Advanced Opportunities tab that you will see. Once those windows open at 8 a.m. on their respective dates, you'll be able to upload your application that would be complete, your district strategic plan, and then for transformational learning, your district's definition of proficiency that does not require seat time. Once applications are submitted, they go through a qualification process, and the Board of Public Ed is the agency that qualifies these applications. Again, for transformational learning, that lottery system will be held on January 11th, 2022 to determine the order of funding that will occur for those districts on the wait list. You would anticipate if you are applying for transformational learning that the funding is exhausted through fiscal year 2024. So potentially fiscal year 2025 is when that first year of funding would would occur. From being in the educational field and talking to educators around the state of Montana, I know there's a surplus of ESSER dollars and some additional funding due to COVID, that the districts seem to have additional funds as of right now. So even though I know it may be disappointing to think that your district would be funded until fiscal year 25, just think about there's a few years for you to be able to use the current dollars that you have to perhaps begin implementing your district's transformational learning plan. And then once your district becomes funded, when more allocated funds are available, you could continue to use those dollars to support your transformational learning plans. You can see the current wait list on the hyperlink website here. And then once your district is funded either for transformational learning or Montana Advanced Opportunities, the funding would hit your district's flex fund yearly by October 1st. Here's my contact information. I will be hosting some more webinars throughout the next couple of months prior to the application windows being open. But in the meantime, if you have questions or if I can be of any assistance in helping craft some definitions that did not require seat time or answer any other questions that you may have or your district leaders may have, please do not hesitate to reach out. Here's both my OPI email address and my personal cell phone number.